Okay. Tyrone, I feel so much pressure with this big red in my face. Sorry.
Okay, let's get.
Okay, I'll be the bad guy first. So our Ted Earthquake did some numbers and HPD on some crime stats. Let's talk about that, Mayor. It shows that some property crime numbers are up and aggravated assault numbers are up in the city. What do you think about that? And then talk about just initiatives and ways we can get past it in the city and hopefully improve those numbers.
Not too many, okay? That's number one. Any crime is one crime too many, or it's a homicide, whether it's an assault, a burglary, you name it, it's one too many. I am pleased to say that the number of police officers in our city, that number continues to increase. When I first came in office, we had about 5,100. Now we have over 5,300, and we have a police cadet class that's graduating tomorrow, and that will add another 55 police officers to our force. So that's good news. The other thing is that when you it depends on how you look at your numbers. If you take a look at the homicide rate from last year, the number is down. So the number of homicides, we will again this year come significantly under 300. When I came in December of 2015, that year, we had like 303 murders in the city of Houston. Since then, we have been under 300. And based on, I look at the numbers every week, it seems as though we will come well under 300 again this year. And then with reporting of crimes, what needs to be very clear is the reporting of crimes has changed based on the I think the FBI, the statistics, that the reporting has changed. For example, if there was a burglary involving 4 individuals in that one burglary, in the past it would be counted as one incident. Now, if it involves 4 individuals, it's counted as 4. So it's different. And so it's important that we talk apples to apples and oranges to oranges. And I certainly would encourage people to visit with Chief Officer Bader, because he can walk you through that very specifically. But the point that I want to make, if there's one person committing a crime in this city, it's one crime too many, one burglary too many. And so especially as we approach,
right.
I just indicated that the number of homicides, at least where we are today, is down from last year. And then the way we report crimes, in the past, if there was a robbery involving 4 individuals, that same one robbery, it used to be reported as one.
Right.
Now it's reported as
right.
one.
So they're different. So the reporting system has changed. But so we're looking at the stats to try to validate the UCR versus NIBRs. The truth of the matter is that we still have too much crime, not just in this city, but across the entire country. And one of the things that we're working on that as a team is not just looking at what the crime that's occurring, but what's happening to the people when we arrest them. And I will just say, like I've said before, the mayor and I have had this discussion. Part of the problem is that we, too often, we're arresting the same offender for violent crimes that are out on low bail or on personal bond after committing violent crimes, and that's a problem. And so we are a city that is huge, it's growing, and we have a department that is doing a good job, but every part of the criminal justice system needs to do theirs. And so I'm grateful that Kim Ogg, our district attorney, is taking our conversations that we're having about recidivism, about the cyclical nature of some of these criminals that we're capturing. They're going in one door and out the other, and starting to charge people for the crimes they committed. Historically in Harris County, they have not what we call stacked charges, which means that if we tie you to 15 burglaries or 10 assaults, you are charged with 15 burglaries and 10 assaults, not just 1 and 1. Because what happens is then the judges go and say, well, it's only 1 burglary, it's only 1 assault, so let's let this person in one door and out the other. So there's a lot of things that are going to be changing in the upcoming weeks and months that I think is going to have a tremendously positive impact, Mayor. But at the end of the day, regardless of stats, we still have to do better as a criminal justice.
And property crime specifically, or since it's those specific stats, I mean, it seems like people are either getting more desperate, or I don't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, look, it's the holidays. People that are looking for people to burglarize their cars or burglarize their homes because we're all out shopping. and people are looking for easy targets. And that, again, this is an issue that's nationwide, so we have to be vigilant. We have to report suspicious activity. And at the end of the day, I would rather to see crime go up because people are reporting it than not have what happens in a lot of places that people don't report crime. We work really diligently in our city with 600,000 immigrants to reach out and encourage the community to report crime, because a crime that goes unreported is a crime that can't be solved. And so I like the fact that, again, our murders are down year to date. And I really believe that when we get everybody on the same page in the upcoming weeks and months, including our judges at the district level and our DA and the police department, we're all going to be seeing a lot even better.
A tweet by the DA saying that 14,000 people have, so year to date, have registered as DWI offenders.
Yeah.
Sheriff Gonzalez has said that he's worried that it's going to be to 50,000 at the end of the year.
Offenders?
On the DWI.
Oh,
Yeah.
Aquí en el 2016 me trajo el alcalde unas cosas que yo me enteré inmediatamente, que la ciudad de Houston, el condado de Harris y el estado de Texas somos la peor ciudad, el peor condado, el peor estado para la tragedia del DWI, las personas manejando bajo la influencia del alcohol. Y lo que yo hice con mi departamento, le dije a mis agentes, a mis oficiales, no voy a permitir que ellos tomen y manejen, y no voy a permitir oficiales parando personas a la influencia y no hacer su trabajo y llevarlo a la cárcel. Así que subimos nuestras expectaciones y los requisitos de los oficiales. Los arrestos de este departamento, comparado a los últimos 18 meses, ha subido para más del 90%. Y eso es porque nuestro departamento no va a permitir a personas manejando bajo la influencia del alcohol, y eso fue un esfuerzo que hemos hecho y vamos a seguir haciendo.
¿Usted cree que sí va a alcanzar a 15,000?
A nuestros familiares personal no lo vamos a permitir, así que el mensaje es bien claro: no esté manejando si va a estar tomando, y si está tomando, no maneje.
Son 298 por semana.
Sí.
They're concerned that the number is going to get to 50,000 people on DWI. It's obviously a problem in the city of Houston, Harris County. What do you plan to do?
Well, I'm hoping that's not the case. I certainly would encourage people not to drive while drinking. There are too many DWIs. There are too many people driving under the influence, and so that's critical. I do think it's important for me as the mayor of the city of Houston, or any person who's in any leadership role, to speak against driving while under the influence. People's lives are at stake. People are being killed. We've seen too many reports of people who have been fatally injured, killed by people who were driving while under the influence. So I especially want to sound the alarm during this holiday season and ask people to drive responsibly and not to engage in any sort of activity driving while they're under the influence of alcohol or any other substance. I think that's very, very important.
The SNAP food stamps, apparently they're going to be cuts whenever this takes on effect on April to 2020. In Texas, it's going to be 200,000 people without SNAP if this goes into effect.
Right.
Are you concerned about how this is going to affect the city of Houston, and how important is SNAP food stamps for the people here, especially during emergencies, as we've seen on Harvey and other natural disasters?
For families who simply need some assistance at this moment in time. I joined with the other U.S. Conference of Mayors in signing a letter in August of this year to the administration, encouraging them not to move forward on reducing the number of people who are having to rely on the SNAP program. That's a very important program, and you have to put faces to it, because in large part we're talking about children, and we're talking especially now that we're moving into the holiday season and beyond. So as someone who used to be a recipient of the food stamp program, okay, it's not that people want to be on food stamps or want to be on any sort of government assistance program. I know as a kid, when I had to go to the store with food stamps, it was not my proudest moment, okay? But as my mom said, you will use them when you get hungry. You will use them. So you may not want to go to the store with them, But until such time as things get better, this is what we have to rely on to move forward. So I was one of those kids who relied on food stamps, and was very was not very proud to have to do that. But when you're having to go to school and you don't want to go to school hungry, or you don't want to go to bed at night hungry, those are simply things that you do for that moment in time. Now my situation has changed, okay, and so I'm very sensitive to families who need the assistance at that moment in time in their lives, and I would hope that other people who are in a better position would be sensitive to those who are in a less fortunate position. But for the grace of God, there go all of us. And especially that is a message that needs to be echoed during the holiday season.
A question.
Yes.
And are you concerned about gentrification happening in the area around the Ion? And is the city doing anything to address that?
We've had David LeBron and others. We don't want to see gentrification, not just in that area, but any of our areas, communities that are historical, that have been underserved and under-resourced. And so I'm very sensitive to that, number one. And I do understand that there are some concerns being expressed by individuals, for example, in the Third Ward area, even some of the students at Rice. They want a community, community benefit agreement, and we'll work through all of that. But the key is when, number one, I support the IHOP. I support the Innovation Hub. And what's important to me is that the Innovation Hub is open to everyone, regardless of where they live, that it's not elitist. We're not building walls just for some, but the doors remain open for innovative minds that are coming from Third Ward, Detroit, or Fifth Ward, or the East End, or Sunnyside, or Fort Bend, wherever they may be, so that they can take advantage of this, of the opportunity that's being created to build this integrated, robust ecosystem. So I am very confident that RISE and all of the partners that are working to establish the ION will be sensitive to the community concerns, will address their concerns, and that we will create an environment that doesn't shut people out or doesn't lead to gentrification. And that's why it's important for the city to continue to build affordable housing, for example, in these communities that are very close to the island. So yeah, we're all working in collaboration to prevent that.
Also, I need to add,
Election contest was filed, and I think based on the election code, there's